Okay. Assalamualaikum everyone. Welcome back. This is our second part. Last time we did because of the time restraint, we couldn't have all the questions. So we're doing a second mini part, you can say. And it's New Year in like 2 hours. So like Happy New Year to everyone. And I would like you to welcome you today. The platform is Khuda Aage, and we're continuing the last topic, the linkage between the youth and the older generation, you can say. Okay, so obviously, because it's me, we're gonna start off with a hard question. Last time I tried to go easy, but then it totally did not go easy. So, okay, the first question was asked by Gulzana. She asked how to deal with trauma. Big question.
Who has asked this question? Thank you very much, Zanab, once again for inviting me. And I would like to apologize to all the viewers for yesterday's glitch. And then today, Zanab had some internet problem, which I think but we will try to do away with that. Now, how to deal with trauma? I mean, honestly, this is something where an expert should be giving an opinion, but rather than telling you about trauma, I would say that because trauma, when we say trauma, I mean, we are talking about something very serious, something where a person has probably gone through a very, very difficult situation or incident. And it is not a normal situation at all. And I would say that if it is about trauma, then some psychiatrist or some psychologist, whoever is concerned, should be consulted with. But if it is a generalized word for a feeling which people they will have for certain incidents, and of course those incidents being traumatic, and it is not psychologically classified as medical trauma, then I would say if you
what would you define as trauma?
No, I understand, and I think this is what she meant to ask. The best reliever for people who suffer from any of such problems is that they engage themselves with small kids, little babies.
Oh.
They play with them, they spend time with them. It is a great reliever for all the people who are traumatic for any reason. And
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I've been told that we have a technical problem, that apparently we're not live on Facebook right now.
Okay. I think let me check. Let me check.
We're having a lot of technical problems today.
No, we are live. What's the problem?
We are? Yes. It's not showing apparently.
It's just the setting which probably we need to. Okay, what we can do is we will make it public, and now we are live. Okay, now everybody can.
So like you had it like last time, where like first we like had it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was all about the privacy setting. Now everybody can see us, right? Let me close the stream here.
Yeah, okay. We'll check. We're checking. Okay, yes. Now it's there. Okay. For public view. That's stressful. But it's fine.
The people who have probably joined now, They can rewind and they can still see the first question. I think we should move to the next question.
So like, all right.
2020 was the year of glitches, problems, and issues. And I tell you, it is leaving with the...
Okay, let me ask you a question relating to that. A lot of people have this like misconception that like, because like the year is gonna end, that like everything's gonna change in 2021. What do you think about that? Like, do you think that like some like would this new year bring more positivity for everyone, or like are we like, is like the virus not still gonna be there? The problem is still gonna be there. Like it's not gonna magically become better. So what do you think? And some people think that like 2021 is going to be an even worse year. What do you think about that?
I mean, I'm not a predictor, but I would tell you that this is my life experience, that after every traumatic period or pandemic period, there is a period of relief and happiness. People, they have started firing, I think, already. And
I just heard that. I was like, oh.
I have not given the Happy New Year's wishes.
Yeah.
So I would tell all the audience that I pray for your health, your loved one's health, and I pray for the humanity. And I wish that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I hope also, and this is what I'm talking about, that this year has been very tough on everybody. It has made human
It has also
beings...
inspired a lot of growth though, because
it has made us think differently. It has
been
made
very growing there.
act differently. So many things have changed in this year. I hope that the next year we will be able to utilize the strength which we have gathered from this year, and hopefully.
So it's a year of progress now, because like first it was struggle, now it's going to be a year of progress.
Yes, it is. It is. It should be a year of happiness and year of celebrations, inshallah.
Yes, inshallah. Okay. So, okay, next question. I don't remember if I asked this or not, but do you think that in today's world, everyone needs like a fixed job, like 9 to 5 to survive, like in order to survive?
Not at all.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that.
We all need certain activities to conduct in our life, especially something to do with your physical and mental exercise. Some people, they find refuge in, especially the people who are into physical exercises, or we call them sportsmen. They would like to have a job where their passion is also
included,
and at the same time they are able to earn their livelihood. And on the other side, there are some people who are brainy like you, and they would like to have a job where they can utilize their brains. And
I think I'm more artistic and brainy at the same time. So like I would want, for example, like I'm very interested in history, so I would like maybe want to like work at a museum perhaps, and like teach children about history and like ancient civilizations. You know, like I feel like that would be a very interesting job to me. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It is all about a person's liking or indulgence. But 9 to 5 job, fixed 9 to 5 job for everybody is not recommended. And it should not be a case of fixed job or not fixed job. It should be about you doing something which is potentially rewarding you as
and also something that's growing, like it helps you grow every single day.
Yeah, Zarnab, you are interrupting me a lot, and believe you me, I won't be able to talk this way. I mean, if you want me to answer that, please let me answer.
I'm sorry, but like today I am way more talkative than like last time. And as you know, I do have a problem with being impatient. So please continue.
Then what I can do is I can ask.
I will try not to comment anymore.
No, it's okay. It's okay. What I would do is I would keep quiet until you would like to, you see, finish on whatever views you would like to produce here. And but if we will interrupt each other, then believe you me, we are not going to get anywhere, nor our audience will take away anything.
I'm sure. Continue.
Okay, so what was the question?
I think we've moved past that question now because I
Yeah,
have
that was
understood that, like, yeah, okay. Next
the
question.
next.
Anmol. She is a very heavy question. Maybe for us, I think not that much, but for other people, it would be a heavy question. It's what's the point of living when ultimately you have to die? What's the point of living when you have to ultimately die?
Hmm. Okay, I will. I wanted to rather give a serious answer, but I chose not to. And what was the name of the questionnaire?
Anmol.
Anmol. Anmol, the question of living and dying, I mean, both they were never in our hands. Something which we do not control. I mean, what do we do about it? We were not born at will, nor we are going to die at will. Yes, some people they do commit suicide, but that is how it is. It ends up. And there is a supreme power which controls our coming and going. So something not in our hands. I mean, I would say probably in a different conversation, on a more deeper note, I would like to shed some light on this question. But for youth, I think that's
Okay, I see your point. But her question specifically says, what's the point of living? Like, it's not the choice of living, but the point of, like, what do you think the point of living at all is?
that point is inside us. It is built in. I mean, we are born with this survival
Agreed.
instinct. No child you need to teach that this child wants to live. I mean, it has a survival instinct. Every human, every organic life, you would see that they have everything built in them. And this is something where we don't need to seek a point. The point is already there. The point is that we were born with this programming that we have to live and we have to strive to live. And this is why we live.
Also, like, not just exist, but live, you know, like,
Yes, yes,
truly live. Yeah.
yes. I mean, some species, they are born to rather exist than live, but at least it's not us.
Mhm. Okay, next question. Okay, so, oh wait. Helen asked, what is the main reason of Islam, Siduri? Like, this is a very religion-based question. May I first add my thoughts on it?
Sure.
I think that, like, if a person wouldn't like go away from something then come back to it, when it comes back to it, it will like understand it more and like appreciate it more and understand its value more. Whereas like if you just stayed there, you'd always just like almost take it for granted, I can say. But like when you would go away and like experience new things, so then when you come back to it, it's like out of very like you feel better about it because it's a more out of choice, you can say, you know. So, but Her question is, what is the main reason of Islam, Saburi?
I think why we have been distancing from our religion, or most of the people with different religions, they have been distancing because the wave of technology and the wave of information, influx of information, the abundance of information has caused some kind of mix up in our heads, whereby we are unable to understand what is to be read, what is to be
Consume.
questioned, what is to be processed, and what is to be neglected or dropped. Now, too much information is a problem too, especially contradicting information. Internet has provided us ways to get to any type of information within seconds, but at the same time, there is no way that we are able to differentiate the different streams of information about anything or everything. Now, what happens is, I hope that people they would know that you're conducting a live session here. Anyway, somebody should inform them anyway. So what happens is, your values and your religion and your culture earlier was being taught by the conduct of the people around you, the behaviors and the guidance which they were providing you, and it was being fed into you by two ways. Number one, slow and steady feed of information, and then this feed of information was being accompanied by their physical acts. Now, what happens is that if your father tells you that you need to pray 5 times, you quickly in 5 minutes go to the internet and then you find all the good and bad information about praying. Even before 5 times prayer was ever done before you or slowly injected in you all the relevant information, good or bad, beneficial or otherwise, especially in this case, I mean, as a believer, I tell you that it is all about positivity and benefits. But before actually you conducted yourself into this exercise or this prayer or this form of prayer, you were able to get a lot of contradictory information already in your head. And that contradictory information created a lot of doubts in your head. Now you, a human being, thought that, I mean, before I action on this this order of my father's, I am going to relieve myself from the doubt which I have gathered. And then continue to gather a lot of doubts. You remove one, I mean, there is another, you remove another, then there is third one, and so on and so forth. And even if you reach a point where you are able to action upon something, a lot of things are already jumbled up in your head. And because of this confusion, you would like to run away from this exercise. So this is something which is happening about so many things, especially value-based things, cultural-based things, and religious things. I would say that about religion especially, we should take the basics without any verification. We should take orders or we take guidance from our elders, especially the pious people, the people who implement what they preach, we listen to them and we start acting upon them before going into the details of what is questionable, how to be done, what not to be done, and so on and so forth. This will ease your life. This is what I do in my life. I have so many questions about so many things, but I simply act upon those things which I know that my father has taught me and he has been doing, and I found apparently that those things work for him. Until or unless I am able to reach to this conclusion where I am definitely sure that why should I be dropping something which came from or from my father or my elders or all those wise people around me. I would like to continue doing them because I know that there is no harm doing anything which is positive, which does not apparently impact anybody else negatively. Where is the harm in doing that? I will continue to do that until that harm is properly found, examined, and understood. Then probably I can think otherwise. I hope answers the question.
Okay. So, do you want me to share my thoughts on it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I disagree on the part where, like, you said that, like, you would just follow whatever like people have told you without question. As as being a part of this generation, that's not very easy for me to do. Without, I want to like know for myself, like, look at the answers, everything. But then I also see how on the other side there would be so much information and so many right and wrong where to a point maybe I would not even like be able to decide what's right or what's wrong. So I see both sides, but then I also understand that me myself I would not be able to like follow it blindly. So I think because of that, but because of like my own like values and stuff, I would try to find like reasons to believe what I already kind of believe, to like support them. So I guess that's where the conclusion might end for me. But I guess it would be different for everyone. But yeah.
Okay, listen to me. I would like to elaborate a little more. I would ask you a simple question. Suppose kids like you, they do not want to follow somebody, even their own parents, just because their parents are telling them to do something. Fine. They choose otherwise. Now, choosing otherwise confuses them, and they are not able to do anything at all. And this confusion, if there is a way for them to eradicate this confusion through their already made up plan that this is how we are going to be dealing with certain things, I would understand this. I would say that the kid is wise enough to understand that if I do not want to follow somebody just blindly, then this kid has a plan to enter into this information, verify or swim through this sea or ocean of information, gather what is required, and then he has a clear trajectory to follow. And he or she has a clear plan or intention to implement this. I think there won't be any problem. But nobody is even asking, if you do not have a plan, you do not have a trajectory, you do not know how to get out of it, and probably you lack this intention to get to the end and then act upon it. It means that it is not a question of blindly follow or not blindly follow. We all, and you all once followed all the elders, especially the parents, blindly. I mean, till the age of 5, 6, 7, 8, I think sometimes some people they blindly follow their parents till the age of 15, right? It's only when you become little mature that you want to have your own understanding about anything, which is not wrong, which is understandable. It's a human psyche, and it's a human need also to liberate himself or herself from all the teachings which have been given to this person by the society, by parents and everybody, at least validate them. So this validation has no problem. I mean, if somebody wants to go ahead and verify certain information, why not? But without having a clear course of action, you want to simply reject what you have been doing almost half of your life because you think that you do not want to follow somebody blindly. No, sir. No, man. You followed somebody blindly for so long and for so much so that some things are embedded in you. They are there in you. Now understand that if you were, when you did not have the trust issues, you did not have the intellect to question the trust, then you trusted blindly. And then you reach to a point where you are, and you are here because of that trust which you somehow put in them because they were your parents or they were your elders, right? Godly appointed people, not in your. And now because you have reached to a certain point, healthy, wealthy, everything is nice, fine, and now you want to question this. You need to question this. You need to verify this, but you need to question and verify this not inside. Inside should be same. Your trust issue will not be there because if there was a problem with those people who were raising you, they would not be able to raise you to a point where you are able to question them. I hope you guys understand what I'm referring to.
Bad parenting. Oh.
So what next?
Okay, what next? Okay, let me see. Okay, Saba asked, parents force children with anxiety to socialize. That makes it worse. What's the right way to help with that? Because especially in like our culture, like
I mean, forcing children to socialize, if that is in particular to be answered, then I would say that children, they have different likings and dislikings, built-in attractions and built-in compulsions also, and repulsions also. No one should be able to understand them better than their parents and their family members and their teachers. And if they do understand them, then they must know that how to, if your child is an introvert and this child for any XY reason does not want to socialize, the introduction of anything and everything should be process based and should be slow and steady. A lot of patience is required on parents' parts or on the elders' part, that they need not to push children for something. They need to introduce rather than push. And that introduction should also be this subtle and undetectable that initially your children, they cannot even detect that some change is being brought to you or brought to us. And such is the case with those children who are not very social, and their parents, they want them to socialize. If these kids are just normal kids,
Mm-hmm.
a slow and steady introduction to meeting people, spending time with people. Sometimes you can call their friends home and ask them to engage them into certain activities, and those activities should be continued on a regular interval so that they get used to it. And once they kind of land themselves into the basic addiction to it, then of course they have their own triggers to follow socializing. And if it is very much needed, I would rather say, if I was to choose, I would say it is not the time for us to effect socializing on our children, because our children are already socializing virtually very well, and in fact they are socializing too much. Rather, we should engage them in physical activities uh, where they spend time with their cousins, with their family members, their age fellows, their class fellows, their friends, and they get introduced to some healthy activities through which not only they create this bond among them, but also some physical exercises and some mental exercises are also brought to them, and they are made to go through this kind of environment or situation on regular intervals, and this will introduce them to or bring them to living a healthy and prosperous life.
Okay, so in this same case, for example, like the parents forcing the child to socialize, what if the parents are also like forcing the child that they cannot meet with like the people that the child wants to meet with? And so like, and the child feels like, and also they also expect their child to live the way they did, do the things the way they did, and the child feels like the parent is controlling them completely. So, what would you say to those parents and that child?
See, Zadab, your parents, most of the times, and most of the parents and elders, they have lived their lives and they have the experience which you do not have. You might think that probably you are the brightest kid on this planet, but still you are yet to see and go through a lot of experiences of life which they already have.
May I put in?
Yes, sure.
I meant, okay. So the thing is that this child, they feel. The thing is also, I disagree on that. That like, okay, I see the parents have more experience, obviously, but it is a very different generation. That is, you also have to like put that in consideration. So like, I guess the specific child feels like. Their parents want them to live exactly the way that they did, and so that's why, and also like controlling them and then like isolating them. Specifically, this child has not met for 2 years. Yes. So I'm
See,
really.
first we need to accept that either no human being was ever born who was different, or every human being ever born was born different.
What do you mean by that?
One of the reality you have to accept, no? You said that it is different now.
Yes.
I am saying if it is to be true, then either you should accept that no one was born ever, was not born in a different culture or different society or different environment.
Okay. But what about
You're
suffer?
getting what I'm saying.
Okay. But like,
I mean, if you
what
are
what
different, if
what
you are
advice would
no,
you
if
give
you
to
were
Sabha
different,
now?
think that you are born in a different times, then what about me? I wasn't born in a different time.
Agreed, you were, but the thing is that drastically different because of the technology gap, and then yes, do not do this. No, it's different.
No, man, no. Uh, it is probably a buzzword which has caught your mind. Uh, Believe you me, people
Our
born
people,
after
yeah,
Adam,
agreed.
even even Hazrat Adam, when he was born, I mean, of course, in this new world, new reality, everything was new. And then every child who was born, things were different. Why? Because the nature of existence is dynamic, it is not static. It never stays the same, it is changing.
Just supposed to be different, I guess,
One,
because the children
one
have to become
child,
smarter and better.
please let me answer, and you will have your answer, I assure you. If you would listen, if you would care to listen, and I ask and demand patience from all the children listening. I know that we are species of uh, indulgence and the species of judgment, because this is what was given to us, the choice was given to us, and that is our biggest power. So we would like to judge and reach the conclusion very, very quickly. That's very normal. But in such a conversation where we are trying to understand something from somebody, I think it is very, very pertinent for everybody to remain calm, patient, and listen to intently, so that at least we can, if not entirely, we can take away something beneficial for us. And if there is still question lingering in our head, that question is not entirely the question which we had before the conversation started, right?
Can I add
So,
something?
yeah,
Do you mean everyone, or like specifically some?
sorry,
Do you
sorry.
mean, do you actually, like you were saying, everyone is impatient and stuff and should listen intently? Do you specifically mean someone you know?
No, I cannot hear you well.
You cannot? Can you hear me
No, I
now?
cannot. I mean, just repeat yourself.
I
No, but
said,
I mean, I can listen, I can hear, but I cannot understand your point.
my point was you said that like everyone needs to be like everyone needs to listen intently and like be patient.
Okay, now I got
Did
it.
you mean everyone, or like specifically someone you know, because you've been repeating that to someone specific a lot now?
Okay. No, I specifically meant the people who are listening and you. And I gave myself an exclusion, uh, or this exemption. Why? Because I declared myself to be a person who is supposed to be talking rather than listening. So, on a lighter note, uh,
But the thing is, I do go after
this
you.
is for
Yes.
the
So like,
this is when we say that we are in the era of greatest technological situation. It does not mean that the people who were being born earlier were somehow any lesser than us, or they were not born in difference to whoever was born earlier. I mean, everybody was born in this dynamic situation. Things were changing rapidly, and fortunately, most of the time during the history they have been advancing. So when I was born, I thought the same thing which you are thinking. I thought that I am born in this era of wonderful culture and advanced civilization and whatnot. But
Agreed,
soon
yes.
I needed to change my understanding, and then I understood that this is a continuous reality, expanding universe, where everybody will be born in a different environment, and of course that environment is likely to be advanced uh, and better than the earlier.
Yes, agree. Because like now when like my generation has children, obviously they would be in the like the in a time where like even more advancement. So I totally understand what you're saying. Yes, agreed. And also I'm also bad at listening probably because I do go after you. I'm very talkative myself. So in these interviews it's very hard to like control myself. But I guess it's also good practice for me to like better my listening skills, you know,
Yes, it
and
is.
learning. Yeah. You didn't even hesitate. You were like, yes. You were like instantly, okay. I see you. Okay, so we're like at our last question. Also, again, a very heavy question, obviously. Lala asked this question. Let me just turn to the page 1 second. How to live life?
How do we?
How to live life?
How to live?
Life. How to live life?
If we have to live a life, then we have to understand life. And if we have to understand life, then we have to get into life.
Don't try to like put like a answer, but not really an answer. Then move on.
What do I mean by saying this philosophically is
Mhm.
that living does not mean, of course, existing. Living means lending yourself into life and lending or exposing yourself to the challenges of life, to the beauty and the bounties of life. All the enjoyment out there and all the adversities out there, once we understand that we have to expose ourselves to all the negativities and all the positivities of this existence, this is what we call living. Now, once you decide to live, it means that you have decided to experience life. And once you start to experience life, life actually starts to nourish itself in you. It starts to somehow vibrate in you, in your
Mhm.
voice, in your actions, in your surroundings, in your presence also. Because the vibration of life depends upon how you conduct your life, how you live a life. And because it is something which needs actions to be produced by this human body, nothing works without moving your limbs, moving your body
Mhm.
parts. You remain static, you remain dead until you move. Now, movement is the key. And when we move with intent and we move towards certain direction with purpose, with passion, now this becomes an action which has certain emotions attached to it. And once this action has certain emotions attached to it and it has become an action, it means that this action would lead you to certain glorifications or certain dilemmas, or it would probably land you into trouble. The only the only difference between, I think you're offline, but I will continue. The only difference between being glorified, being rewarded, or becoming successful, or becoming failure, or miserable is that both ways life is thriving. Both ways you are getting this experience, which one way or the other going to enforce new realities or introduce new realities. I think today is a day of introduction to you, to your experience, and this life becomes more existential, more relevant, more effective, more potentially available. And when I look at life, I put life into a nutshell and I just write one word down there. And that word is life is a purpose. It was created for purpose. It needs some purpose. And all those exposures and actions we have been talking about, if they are purpose, if they were done or conducted with some purposefulness, they make you alive. They provide you a purpose to continue and provide others a purpose to imitate you or reject you, maybe in some cases. And then once you start to understand this experience, which we eventually are referring to as living a life, then you are able to relate yourself to others also. These are our experiences. Not today's experience of this interview must have taught so many things to me, to you, and probably some people listening. Right or wrong?
Agreed, yes.
We will reset certain things in our head and certain things in our actions also as a result. But how was that made possible? It was made possible only because two people, they decided to act upon sitting down and answering those questions which were raised to them. And some people, they act upon their needs to, or their demand or desire to listen to those two people and try to understand whatever they can understand from this conversation. But some act was involved. This act of us doing whatever we did created certain experiences for all of us, and we were able to live life. We were able to understand a little bit more of how to live. So that is what is living. Continuous struggle and seeking new information, new experience through actionable material and through your own practical indulgence into it. Not only practical, but your intellectual, mental, and whatever other elements you would like to include. You have to involve yourself fully. Potentially, every aspect of your reality should be involved in into any of the experiences you may choose to go to, and this will create more throbbing life, more relevant life. The experience of you living this life will elevate, and this will create a better experience for others also if it happens to be a positive experience. And I would like to add just one more thing. I am because I am in particular thinking that this program is being done for youngsters, and thus I am trying to remain a lot more superficial than I normally do, because I am a person who would like to talk about the philosophies of life rather than
how to live it. Yeah.
practicalities of life. But I'm trying myself. I'm trying. I hope uh, at least there is some understanding with regards to this question, which I've left or I'm leaving you with.
So true. So I guess, are you done with answering the question, or would you like to add anything more, or do we end like the outro now?
Okay, so what I would do is I would first of all thank you very much, and once
Oh no, the fireworks have started.
fireworks have started, we must end now. Let people watch and enjoy the new year. And once again, happy new year to everybody. And I wish you best of luck in 2021. And I advise you to have great resolutions for 2021 and do act upon them, because this was the last question. And it means that you have to live. You do not have to exist in 2021. You have to live. And with that note, thank you very much, Sarnab. And I
Okay,
hope
I would like to add something as well.
you can do that for my side. That is goodbye.
Okay, so from my side, Happy New Year to everyone. And I would like to add that our next program will be on like love and marriage and like everything about it, because I think a lot of people my age were like have just become adults and like now have to think about that reality, would be interested in that. And so our next program would be about that. And so people stay tuned for that, and Happy New Year. May you live life.
Goodbye. Thank you very much, everybody. Assalamu alaikum.